Good morning, Mr. Milesi, and thank you for being here with us. How are you doing? Thank you, thank you. So you have been fighting with Parkinson for a few years, but apart from this, you are also the president of Parkinson Italy. Yes, it was almost an automatic consequence. I completed my mandate in the organization and the foundation I was leading, Chesley, and in the meantime I received this Parkinson diagnosis, and I realized how important this awareness is, the awareness of this disease. Is a well-known disease from a scientific point of view, but is still unknown socially. So what is Parkinson Italy dealing with? Our first goal, which is at the top of our strategic plan, is the one of information and awareness raising about the disease. Having an early diagnosis is fundamental in order to have a long life, full life, and a quality life. So you need to be aware of the disease. But the trend is to hide it. The trend is not to admit it if you have it, especially at an early age and you don't want to lose your job. And that shows that the disease is also underestimated. Just like one of the sentences that you said earlier on is a well-known disease, but not so much that it can be shown without having taboos. Yeah, so let's consider the fact that we use the word disease with a negative connotation in Italian. We are now living a pandemic and we know what an infective disease is. We know that this Italian word morbo, which has a negative connotation, doesn't make sense in the case of Parkinson because it's not a virus. And that shows the confusion that there is about this disease. We have Stefano here with us. Of course, he couldn't miss this opportunity, close to me. He's a bit too tall, but he's a fundamental person. You know each other, of course. Hi Stefano. Hi Giangi. And just like you were saying, you're fighting this Mr. P, as we started to call it. It is often defined as Mr. P. Is there anything you wanted to ask to Giangi? Sure. First of all, talking about this journey and talking about how to get rid of this negative connotation of disease, what have you been doing and what are you still doing? We made the most of what you just said about Mr. P. The fact that we have the habit to personalize the disease can actually become a point of strength. It became a campaign, and we let Mr. Parkinson and Mrs. Parkinson talk, namely Claudio Bisio and Lella Costa, two actors, and we show how people react to the disease, the so-called resilience, technical term, and how to resist against the disease while still living and actually seizing more opportunities deriving from this situation. In the beginning, you react against the disease, imagining to have a fight against it, against Mr. Parkinson. But then, you behave in a better way, learning how to cope with it, because in the end you have to come to terms with the disease, as we were saying earlier on. We have another question. Talking about younger people suffering from this disease, what do you think is important to do in this case? So first of all, leaving the necessary room to this change because it's a multiform disease. So we need to leave the necessary room in the discussion for early on stage of Parkinson's disease in younger people. And then we should wonder why our associations don't matter, regardless of the high number of people affected by this disease. 250,000 people in Italy, probably it's an underestimated figure. So if there is such a lot of people, why aren't their voices being heard? Probably because associations are made by ourselves, and that is fine, but we also need younger people to move the associations forward. So the ideal situation would be to have councils made of people suffering from Parkinson's disease, because it's important to have them and avoid conflicts of interest. It's important that we represent our own companion in this misfortune, but it's also important to have other people in the staff, younger people with the necessary skills, people who studied, and people who have the strength and the enthusiasm that it takes, not just like me burning like a candle. So we need younger people. They are fundamental in order to move forward. How is Parkinson Italy protecting younger people and their families? I'm very proud of what we have done during the emergency, because the COVID emergency, this new disease, and lockdown measures, which are necessary, actually hit people with Parkinson, especially. This impossibility to move, to have doctor visiting at home, people that you should normally refer to, had a heavy toll on people suffering from Parkinson's disease. We worked with Parkinson Care, a startup by the Zambon Group, and we had their telephone assistance. But apart from the results, thousands of calls, and they ended very well. They were very appreciated, as our surveys show, and we learned many new things as well. We learned that with nursing assistance, we can ease the burden on the healthcare system, because most of the needs can be met by these people coming at home. On the other side, we have neurologists and specialists, and they need to be coordinated, of course. So this nurse coming at home become a case manager, and it works. But there is another, even more important thing, the fact that telemedicine is applicable and is not second to visits in person. It can actually improve what you can achieve in person. And this is something that your guest, Bloom, explained a long time ago, and now we have the proof of it. And neurologists realize that what you can see meeting people in their homes through a computer, of course, through telemedicine, you can actually see things that people suffering from the disease normally don't tell about themselves. The fact that they live in discomfort, the fact that they don't have certainties, they forget things, and you get some things lost with visits in person, but with telemedicine you have a better quality actually. So Giangi, we can say that the pandemic brought us something useful, getting people together through technology. Thank you very much, and we wish you a pleasant day. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful initiative. I'm very happy that it is being remembered, this World Day, because World Days are more important than what we can do at national level. They have their own importance, of course, but World Days like World Parkinson's Day were designed in New York at the UN headquarters, and it's important to celebrate them with the necessary attention. And we're doing our best, isn't it, Stefano? Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye, Giangi. Thank you so much. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.